Okay, you take a look at this next logo, Trinity's logo. Just kind of show it to you. It's on the scanned layer, and you can take a look. It's a little, I might have scanned it in a slightly crooked. The rulers, I'm just going to put in to show the rulers and to see this come through. So this will give me a little bit of help on this part. So on the scan layer, I'm just going to make a new layer just to help me keep organized there. And the ruler guide, I can bring this down. It'll show this under View, Rulers, Hide Rulers, Show Rulers. So it depends on where you're located. So and the layer, so you can see it's not a perfect square at the top, but it's pretty close down here at the bottom. But I'll keep that advised on that section. So what I might do is just take the pen tool this time to show you and hit the default. And I'm just going to click on these corners since it's kind of slightly angled. And you see it fills with white, so I'm going to click off of the white box so it'll come out and keep that selection. And just come right back and you'll see the arrow turns to a hollow point, so that makes that shape. I'm just going to zoom in just a little bit more so you can see it on the screen. So that's a pretty good beginning. I'm just going to deselect everything, so I'm going to hold the Command key and click off. And now I'm just going to make this shape into one big shape out of here. So I'm just going to click right on the path, and you can see it lines right up there. The purple is just a smart guide that shows. And I'm just going to come down here, clicking on there. And just for starters, this is a way to do it. I'm just going to stay right along that path and let the mouse do its work right there. So they're all kind of just slightly different. So it makes it a little bit easier to see it. And bring it up to here. And connecting this snapping to these points. So when you see that, that becomes one shape that I can just temporarily give it a color. And now I'm going to do the same with this shape. It's not too difficult. If I can line that up so it comes to the line, it turns purple. And just click right on to the intersection of those points. I'll give it a different color. And here, if I can't see it, I can always turn that off again. Give it a different color later. But it brings it right to those points there. So there you have this section. Here's the background layer. I'll just give it a darker value. Now it doesn't have the texture that she's sketched in there, but for now I'll just show it to you. So it's 3 layers of color, and you can see how they're connected. And if I move those apart again to just undo the move and bring it right back, and that has those 3 things. So the nice thing is that I can take this, select them all, and just I'll move it down just so I can still see the thumbnail sketch. And I'll put a copy over here, just Option to duplicate it. Shift key keeps it nice and straight. And here I can go ahead and try to do some of the texture with some of the lines, or I can, if you want the crosshatch texture that's in there, you can try that as well. So for example, on this one you can see it overlapping depending on how you do it. So I could take a stroke, and if you have the control panel up at the top under View or under Window, you'll see Control Panel. So right up here you can see the point size of this. I can see that I can give it a profile, okay, and that'll give me that initial line, so I can just make the crosshatch if I want to try that. So I'm just going to put an option to duplicate it. Command D will duplicate it some of those ways. So it's some parts that you can build up. I can select all these items that are the logo, and it'll let me move it out of the way for temporarily. And that way I can select all of these characters and do what they call grouping. And then I can duplicate a piece of this and just rotate it. Try to make some crosshatch lines like this. And it's just a possibility. You can also flip it just by dragging it. So you'll discover some of these things as you start to mess around with the program there. But it'll give you some cross-hatching that you can try for that particular piece. If you do it straight away, 45-degree angles this way, give it the little uniform thing up at the top here. Then I can do an option and duplicate it this direction and select all these. Now if it's too thin or too thick, I can always come up here to change the thickness of it. And here's a group. And again, just option to duplicate it, and can rotate this around too and flip it. So it'll give you the section. There's a rotation tool and a reflect tool that shows up here. You option and double click on that, it'll give you this window. You can preview it and hit OK. So now this has another selection. So there's the piece, and I can group that together and set that up here. And once it's up here, the outside edge, if you remember, you can rotate a little bit to see if that's really what you desire. But she has all these little hatch lines that you can create. If you want to keep it just straight color, then you can click on this, give yourself the color palette to choose from, and that'll give you the opportunity to take a look at that. And again, the nice thing is you can option and duplicate it if you want to do a variation of the colors. Just to get started, there's all of them in green, for example. So it'll give you a couple variations that you can work with. And if you don't like the stroke on there, you can click on it and just take that so it doesn't have a stroke on there. So take a look at your design. This one's a little just using the pen tool. Again, here's the image. And I'm just going to zoom into it, hit the Tab key, and Command-Shift-4 to make that selection.